I studied in Bremen. It's in the north of Germany.
I went to France, to Nice, to a university called ECOG.
I went to Spain and I studied in Valencia, at the Universidad de Valencia.
My second year I went to Montreal, to Concordia University.
I studied abroad in Morgantown, West Virginia, and I studied fine art over there.
I studied at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, NTU.
I went to the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. In the States I was there for 12 months, but I stayed on after. During the summer I went back and stayed for 3 months.
I studied at University of Western Sydney, which is located about an hour's train ride from the centre of town.
I did my study abroad in America and I studied at the Central Connecticut State University in Connecticut.
The main reason, I think, was to discover another culture and to learn a language.
Well, I just came to the business school and it seems that everyone else is doing business too, so I wanted to do something different to stand out, and study abroad was the best choice.
When I started studying, I wanted to combine the thing of actually travelling and study at the same time.
I wanted to travel, and I wanted to travel without having to pay for it myself, so, you know.
One of the reasons I picked this uni was the chance to go study abroad, because I wanted to see, especially doing fine art as well, because it's always good to kind of like go and mix with the culture.
You had 9 months out there, so even if you didn't like it, it was a very short period in the long term.
The study abroad program gave me the opportunity to kind of experience the culture and immerse myself in it to see whether I can actually survive there rather than it just be a holiday.
It's just a really good opportunity than just academic study.
I wanted to take an advantage of the Erasmus program, which is a great opportunity.
Before university you don't necessarily have everything that you need, and after university you just don't necessarily have the time.
I mean, I think it's natural that you're a little bit cautious about going anyway. The fear side of it came from the fact that I was going over with, none of my friends were going with me. I didn't know anyone that was going. There was 5 people from each university going, and I didn't know any of them. So for me it was a little bit daunting, kind of opening yourself up and getting into a new social situation you're not actually used to. Because you're used to being surrounded by your friends, and everywhere you go you've always got people with you. But it was exciting. I mean, it was nice to go over and challenge yourself in a new environment. So
It depends on what group of people you're talking to, but personally I think I was really up for it. I really wanted to do this. I knew that I had the support of the uni as well, so I felt strong enough to go for it and do this. But I was pretty scared.
Scared of leaving my friends and making new ones, scared of having enough money, where I'm going to stay. I was really scared about everything really, but once you sorted one thing out, it's like you could cross stuff off your list of things that you would worry about.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous, but with things like that you have to look at the bigger picture. At the end of the day I was getting so much more experience, I was going to learn a lot more and do something different that most people, wish they could do, but they couldn't, so I had the opportunity. So I thought, if you're scared, if you're nervous, just look at the bigger picture.
Living out of home wasn't an issue, it was more an issue of would I be able to live in another country and would I make friends. That was the main problem, but that was soon taken out of the equation when, as soon as I got there was people to welcome you and, very social, a very small campus I lived on at the start, 150 people, very social place, social activities always going on. And yeah, I think that was my only preoccupation before going, and as soon as I got there it was completely alleviated, so,
It was hard at the beginning to make friends because basically I didn't understand them. But after the first few months that I spent on studying and discovering this language, the second semester was much easier.
It was a big change, even from money, being on the wrong side of the road, just general stuff like that.
I think I got to the point that was with my language that was really good, because I managed to get a placement in the second semester.
There's lots of social stuff to do that the international department kind of did as a group, and you were invited to go to basketball games, and you get like free t-shirts and flags and big foam hand stuff, and yeah, you could like be completely covered in West Virginia clothing.
Well, Sydney's definitely a fast-paced city. You know, so coming from University of Hertfordshire, you know, living in a big city is quite different.
When you go to Carolina, or if someone went to Virginia, for instance, because it's technically a southern state, the way of life is a lot slower. And obviously living in a beach community is exactly that. It's like living in the OC. I mean, everyone there is stunning. It's stupid to say that, but they're just full of pretty people. In Carolina, it was really daunting going there and seeing it. You didn't think that kind of thing existed, but it really did.
It was in my favour that I was one of only 2 British people in the whole campus. So, you know, everyone loves the British over there, and they want to know more about your country, and, you know, they want to go to the pub with you, and, you know, we share a lot of common things like cricket.
The lectures are very different. Here, you're more on like a first name basis. You talk to someone, you call them by the first name, and it's a very relaxed atmosphere. In the States, I found it's a little bit like secondary school or high school. You had to call them Mr. and Mrs. or some of the sports lecturers I had wanted to be called Coach, whatever the name was.
Singapore, obviously being an old British colony, there was quite a lot of expat stuff, so though I was homesick, I was able to go to sort of an Irish pub such that, you know, I could gradually acclimatise myself, but at the same time then walk to one of the food centres, try some of the local dishes and sort of gradually integrate myself.
Montreal has about 2-3 million inhabitants, and there's 4 huge universities in the city centre, which consists of, well, that's what I heard, about 300,000 students in the city centre, and just amazing, you know, atmosphere, student life, nightlife, obviously.
In eating, you're used to using chopsticks all the time. Yeah, it's what's expected, because you don't always get forks or spoons or whatever.
Their lifestyle's quite different, and their mentality is quite different.
It gets to a certain point where it just clicks and you just become more comfortable, but that's a huge barrier as well when you move to a foreign country, because even if you know some French, and even if you know quite good French, it's actually just the confidence to go out there and make the mistake.
I think once you get used to it, it's with every culture, once you get used to it, then you start knowing how it works, how it functions, and how you can get around without offending anyone. And actually, a really key thing is not be offended by them. Well, I think it increases your prospects, and I think I think employers will look for someone who's got like a diverse background.
All the CVs I've sent, as soon as they see, you know, the study abroad, that's the first thing they're asking me in interviews and everything, to, you know, talk about my study abroad, where I went, what it was like, because that is something they don't usually see. It's very unique.
In the first semester, I decided to study intensively Spanish, and it involved a lot of time management, being consistent, and it was a very, very tough period for me, but just because I decided to make it like this. So now I know what I can do, how I can achieve it, and what are the consequences and the prices if I manage. So the prize for me was the placement at Warner Brothers.
Before I'd gone out there, hadn't really gone that far into journalism that I thought I'd wanted to do it. But now, after studying communications, writing for the university newspaper out there, I really know it's something I want to pursue now. So I'm a lot more focused job-wise.
You become more culturally adaptable, I think, just because you have to be more understanding and more flexible. So it was a really good experience.
It's taught me to cook different foods, which has been really good. I sort of vary my style a lot more now. Also, it's interesting coming back and meeting other people who have been abroad and sort of comparing their experiences with your own, and sort of, I think then you sort of realise what's different, what you've learned from it a lot more.
It's really the interaction with different people, and all that you meet so many people from different cultures and countries, and just the diversity of them, and how many friends you have all over the world after an experience like this. If I want to go to Portugal, Italy, or to Budapest, or live there for a few weeks or something, it's a great opportunity to get friends in several several countries around the world.
Well, before you go, they help you sort out everything in terms of paperwork that you have to go out there. But when you actually get out there, you have the study abroad over there that helps you.
Once I got over there, I think I got a few emails like checking up to see if it was all going well. And over there, the kind of study abroad, like the international department, they really like took care of you. They didn't like hound you or anything. They sent you emails like if you wanted to do stuff with them or not. You didn't have to do it.
And the office was very helpful because they gave me some advice, pieces of advice, and I got to the point where I knew which university I want to apply to.
They also like kept weekly contacts with us as well. Constantly emailed us to see if everything was okay and make sure that we had our visas and we had all our financials, all our financial aspects, everything was fine. Our student loans,
We had the loans from the LEA over here like you normally get. We got a little bit more money because we were going abroad. The university here, they gave us the academic side of the payment, so they subsidised what we'd have to pay. So the housing and the food was the only two things we had to pay for.
I was in a fairly decent contact with them whilst abroad, so they were sort of checking up, making sure that everything's okay. We got visited by one of these study abroad people from the business school just to ask general questions, field basically any complaints we had about the university out there, so that was all good.
Every student should really take an advantage of this option to go abroad.
Don't let anything hold you back. Just keep your eyes focused on what you want, work hard, get your head down, get the grades you need to go, and just enjoy yourself when you get there.
You are supposed to study, but at the same time you are discovering a new culture, you are discovering yourself. You learn how to manage yourself, how things happen in a different country, how people behave, and you learn that you have to adjust to these circumstances. And I think this is a very, very important thing to develop in yourself for future.
Yeah, I definitely recommend to go to Sydney because I don't think enough students do go to Sydney.
Also, yes, definitely Singapore. I think a lot of people get put off by the fact that they don't realise that English is the first language out there, and that is a big point. Everyone within the university and probably 95% of the population speak English, so there's no language barrier.
To study abroad is a great opportunity for everyone, especially since it's provided by the university. They back you up in that sense. You're not traveling alone, you always have the international office and the university behind you.
Go for it. Yeah, it's a really good opportunity. Study abroad. You meet some really great people.
I would definitely recommend it. I've actually recommended it to a few people here and in America as well. So because it's something that you won't be able to do in your lifetime, and it's like there's something you can talk to people about, because it's built up your confidence. You've learned so much about yourself. It's helped you in so many ways, not just socially, but in terms of your employability and everything. So that's why we really, really do recommend it to people.
To be honest, it's just the same like when you travel abroad. It's just do your research. As long as you do your research, and if you can save some money so you have something behind you, then it'll be fine, and just go for it.
Because a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people you speak to always says, I wish I could have done that. Well, when the opportunity's there, are you strong enough to take it or not? And those are the people that come back. I don't know anyone that's come back and complained about it.